Hello everyone, welcome to today's webinar. Thank you for joining early. We will wait 5 to 7 minutes more for the people to join and then we will start with the webinar. Thank you for your patience. Hello everyone, welcome to today's webinar ITL for business leaders, aligning IT services with strategy. I'm Shraddha, your host for today, and I'm really glad that you are here with us. Now, in today's business environment, IT is not longer just a back-end support function. It's become a driver of strategy and measurable value. But here is the challenge: aligning IT with businesses or business goals is often easier said than done. So before we get started, I would really love to hear from you. In one word, how is IT seen in your organization today? Is it support, strategy, cost center, or value driver? You can drop your answers in the Q&A box. I'll take a minute for your responses and then we will move ahead. I'll be waiting for your answers. Attendees, are you from IT? Because I'm not able to see any answers. So, how do you see that your organization see IT as infrastructure, IT management? What is it? Okay, let's move ahead. We will talk again. So, in this session, you will walk away with practical insights, real-world examples, and proven frameworks you can start applying right away. So, before we start, let me introduce to Knowlathon for those who are joining us for the first time. Knowlathon is a global training provider helping professionals upskill and get certified with globally recognized programs. We have trained over 50,000 learners worldwide in ITIL, PMP, Prince2, Agile, ISO standards, and many more. Our goal is simple to help professionals like you stay career ready in a fast challenging and fast changing digital world. Now, it's my absolute pleasure to introduce our speaker for today, Mr. Vishal Kulkarni. He brings 19 plus years of IT leadership experience and over 8 years as an agile coach and consultant. He has worked with leading global enterprises, helping teams align IT capabilities with business goals and guiding organizations through digital transformation. Today, he will be sharing not just theory, but real world insights on how ITL4 can help business leaders strengthen the alignment, improve return on investment, and lead with confidence. So let's get started. Vishal sir, over to you.
Okay. So thank you very much, Priyanka, and it's pleasure to be part of this particular discussion. Uh, so this is a quick introduction on my part. You heard it from the host, wherein she introduced me. Typically, coming from a IT background, served to different organizations, which includes especially pretty much I've served into the BFSI domain in the past, and I've seen the overall implementations. I've seen the overall rollouts. I've seen the project rollouts, the product rollouts, and subsequently the maintenance. The aspect of the products or services. Typically, the old regime and the new regime, or the arenas, what we talk about, right? I've seen the way we used to take care of our applications into the production systems, the way we used to support it, the way we used to have the workforce taking care of that, and subsequently never ever realized in terms of we have those teams existing in the organizations who are taking utmost care of our customers, who are using our products, who are using our services, who probably may be using our infrastructure as well. And we used to always deal with the operations or probably support people in terms of making sure that the adequate information is being made available to them. And it is all about we doing the forward development and these people taking care of the overall implementation, supporting the customers substantially over the period of time. Now that was the old regime what I was talking about, and subsequently, uh, with my past experience with world's local bank, and subsequently the way I have seen the product or probably the operations people, they are gearing up, they are trying to become a part of the strategic initiatives of the organization, and subsequently making sure that they have a fair understanding, they are coming out of their silos and making sure that they have enough capabilities, skills available with them, which suddenly enables them to be part of the idea organization and subsequently take care of the ongoing requests of the customer. At the same time, they are working with the forward development teams in terms of making sure that they are enabled to be part of the forward development teams, wherein they are allowed to share their learnings from the implementation aspect of it. showing their alignment in terms of looking at the predictability in terms of what is coming into our way, right? Substantially over the period of time, share the feedback with the ID forward development teams. You know, the feedback what they have received from the customer who are actually utilizing the infrastructure, who are utilizing the productionized kind of products and services, and suddenly they are showing their alignment with regards to having the appropriate information available and making sure that we are developing our organizations, they are developing the world class solutions, which is far better than the competitor products. And substantially they are making sure that they are giving an opportunity to the organization in terms of their available product and services, and a kind of predictable based kind of a new features capabilities what they are developing, that that is certainly bringing a different arena wherein their products are becoming, or probably their products and services they are taking care of the maximum market share. And this is where the fundamental of ID service management which comes into picture substantially. At every point in time, right, you need to stick to the basics, but certainly you need to look at the bigger picture as well. And in next 35-45 minutes, right, I'm going to open an arena how ITL is bringing that particular perspective wherein people can really understand what that digital and ID strategy is all about, and how IDL is allowing people to learn about those capabilities and subsequently, take those learnings with them back to their organization and subsequently enjoy the benefits while they are showing their alignment with the latest and greatest frameworks which is getting adopted as part of the cultural adoption, which we call it as a transformation. And show their alignment with the latest frameworks which organizations they are adopting, and subsequently making sure that uh, they are keeping their customers happy and subsequently enable their organization to develop the next generation product and services. So that's the overall perspective which I'm going to bring on the table for today's session. And typically, this is the agenda items what we have in place. Wherein I'm just going to talk about a little introduction stuff in terms of why ITL matters for business leaders. But most important, like I said, let's stick to the basics, right? Wherein I'm going to talk about what ITL is all about, right? And then subsequently the leadership perspective in terms of the ID service management, how the business imperative for IDL in terms of shifting from IDs as a support function to ID as a value delivery or value driver, and subsequently, you know, the new framework which ITL has introduced as part of their IDL 4 version, wherein they started talking about the service value system and service value chain, and what that service value system, what that service value chain is all about, what is a value co-creation and stakeholder focus. And typically, I'm going to quickly introduce you to leadership learning, which comes as a default intermediate learning from the people's head as part of their ID service management portfolio. And then subsequently, I'm going to give you an example in terms of uh, any specific organization or the way this ideal 4 is creating the allowing the organizations to create the next generation kind of a product and services. So that's going to be our overall focus area for today. And towards the end of the session, I would be more than happy to address any questions you might have. You're most welcome to ask your questions. And if I'm not able to if I'm unable to answer your question, then subsequently we can revert back to your questions as and when we have the sufficient information available with us. But that will be a rare case. But still, I'm still keeping a 1% as a stake as a placeholder for questions which I may not be able to answer it, or probably I may not be able to predict it. Now, when it comes to the IDL, right, it is Information Technology Infrastructure Library, right? And it is the latest, IDL 4 is the latest evolution of the IDL framework, which was introduced to the world by uh, Axelos, which was acquired by PeopleCert, right? And this is a summation of, the overall framework which they introduced as part of their ID service management. And typically, your ideal is only is the framework, right? Is the only framework which talks about ID service management phase of it. But need of the time, and subsequently after 2001, right? The buzzword uh, which was introduced to the world called Agile by those 17 intellectual intelligent people, I would call it. And definitely there is a focus area in terms of how quickly we can deliver the product and services to our customers, how efficiently we take into consideration the feedback about the product and services which has been used by our customers, how effectively we are reflecting on those feedback. And suddenly that was a new arena which was opened up. Subsequently, over the period of time, every organizations they experimented, they were trying to understand what Agile is all about, and subsequently uh, they adopted, they started learning about what Agile is all about with the help of different frameworks like Scrum, or probably you may call it as Kanban. Subsequently, after 2011, people started talking about the Skilled Agile framework as well. And ID service management was the only one which was typically indicating the typical. I won't call it as a traditional, but that was not showing any alignment with regards to the way we should be reflecting on the value co-creation aspect of it. Certainly, ideal V3 was more focused. It was always not V3, but earlier versions of the IDL, it was always staying focused on the value delivery aspect of it, but how effectively we take the feedback of our customers into consideration, and subsequently how do we become more productive, how we become more customer centric, which certainly allows us to uh, you know to have the right solutions to be made available, right services to be made available to our customers at every given point in time. And that is where in 2019, Ideal 4 was introduced to the world, which is typically, reflecting I won't call it as a Scrum or Kanban as a framework, but typical agile mindset, the DevOps culture. And certainly it indicates the overall alignment with the different other disciplines like site reliability engineering as well, right? And this site reliability engineering was one of the discipline which was introduced to the world by Google way back in 2003. And certainly, if you look at the theoretical aspect of your Agile, DevOps, site reliability engineering, certainly it is allowing the organizations in terms of, understanding where they stand as on date today, where they want to be, their future state as against the current state, compare that, and suddenly create their path in terms of reflecting or marching towards the better tomorrow, right? That is how I call it as a future state. And the overall journey what every organization is embarking, right? Substantially, that is nothing but of a transformation what they are trying to bring in as part of their culture, as part of their ways of working, as part of their product management, as part of their the way they are reflecting that as a inclusive approach in terms of the cultural aspect of it, wherein the entire organization showing their alignment in terms of what their customer expectations are and subsequently where they stand as on day to day and what best they can bring on the table, which will certainly make their customers happy, as well as we have the more customer inflow, as well as we served our existing customer in a much better manner. So that is where this ideal four is creating is having a lot of noise in the market, and this is a typical ideal framework what you get to see, especially over here, right? If you look at it, this is the ideal four edition, which was introduced to the world way back in 2019, and subsequently, if you look at, this is a main framework which we call it as a service value system. And when I talk about a service value system, certainly any framework, if you look at any standard processes, any frameworks, they always have a some triggering point, which we call it as opportunities and demand, and then certainly they reflect as a outcome, right, which is nothing but of a value. But every organization is staying focused on delivering the value, that is well understood. But what is important to understand is like how do we enable the value co-creation within the organization, and that is where Ideal 4 plays a major role. And this is all about we understanding the basic concept in terms of the service provider and service consumer, right? It is always used to be a one-to-one kind of a relationship wherein your service providers, they are showing their alignment, understanding the set of requirements from the customers, and subsequently deliver the value to the customers. And typically, that used to be a value proposition. What we used to talk about it is going to be only a one-way kind of a communication. But subsequently, with reflection of agility DevOps, and which is more inclined towards allowing the organizations to have a clarity in terms of the digital transformation, there is a need in terms of we hearing it back from our customers in terms of what is their thought process, what do they feel about the product and services what we are offering to them. And there are different abilities of the products in which has been taken into consideration in terms of seeking more input from the customers and subsequently making those corrections or possibly those enhancements into the available product and services. And this is all about, right, this is all about you providing the value to your customers, and subsequently you are allowing your customers to provide the feedback to you. It's a both two-way communication what we are setting it up, and that is where your value co-creation is coming into picture. And it is not necessary that don't misinterpret, and it is not necessary that you are just allowing your customers to give you the feedback, but your teams who are very good at technology, it is not necessary that your customers are that well aware of the technology aspect of it. Not necessarily every time it is going to be the case. So your value co-creation is more reflecting in terms of they providing more suggestions, right, based on the feedback what they have received from their customers. Even your IT teams, they are enabled in terms of providing certain recommendations, and that is always in favor of the customer. How customer will get benefited out of it, and that is the overall perspective what we have, right, when we talk about the value co-creation aspect of it. Now, when you look at the service value system, right, you may see different components, the guiding principles, the governance, the practices, the continual improvement. And these are the different parameters which we take into consideration as part of your overall framework, which starts with the opportunities and demand. And subsequently, it is all about we delivering the value in form of services, in form of products, in form of capabilities, in form of features, what we are developing for them. Or probably it could be a infrastructure as well. It is not necessary that every time it has to be a feature or a product or a service. It can be an infrastructure as well. but how quickly we are providing that particular infrastructure based on the whether it is aligning, whether it is completely in alignment with the expectations of the customers, and are we doing the right things, and are we doing the things right. So that's the overall perspective which we need to understand over here as part of your value aspect of it. The core of this particular framework is your service value chain. Now this is where the entire work happens, and this work happens right wherein your triggering point is yet again it is going to be a demand, and there are different set of activities through which the entire service will be provisioned in form of product and services, and that is how the value will be made available in form of solutions. And if you look at, there is a arrow right which is nothing but of the feedback or retrospective which has been which has been provided to your customers, and subsequently making sure that we have uh, we have those references which is taken into consideration, and possibly there is a prioritization which can be done to bring in more maturity into your product and services substantially over the period of time. And these are the core key concepts of ideal 4, right? You have a service value system which is nothing but of a holistic model which certainly ensures all the components of the organizations they work together, because like I said, when we start talking about agility, right, it is all about how we are, how our the overall organization structure, the people, the skills, they're coming together, and they're making sure that the expectations of your customers, users, they have been they have been uh, converted into the appropriate solutions, and your customers are getting benefited out of that. So that is the overall perspective, right? We removing those silos which exists within the organization. So that's the overall perspective what we get to see as part of this service value system, which is a uh, core aspect of your ideal 4 framework. Uh, there are 4 dimensions of your service management, and if you look at it, organization and people, you have information and technology, you have partners and suppliers, you have value streams and processes, and there are 8 factors, right? You may have economical, political, social. These are the different factors which is been taken into consideration in terms of, or which certainly supports these 4 dimensions of your service value system. In ideal v3 we had 9 principles, but substantially in ideal 4 they started talking about only 7 principles. And if you start reading through each one of the principle, they are pretty much talking to the fundamentals aspect of it, and you can see the reflection of real agility or lean or the DevOps fundamental concepts, which is certainly getting reflected as part of your ideal guiding principles, ideal 4 guiding principles. And the core component, which I talked about as part of your ideal 4 as a service value system, is your service value chain, right? And the activities that suddenly create and deliver the product and services, which those activities are going to be your plan, you need to plan the overall set of activities which you need to do it in terms of converting those requirements into the solutions. You certainly have the engagement with your different stakeholders within the organization. You certainly have a design and transition. You certainly have opt-in and build, and definitely you deliver and support, and you're consistently staying focused on the improvement aspect of it. And this improvement is not limited and restricted to only I would call it as the product and services, but certainly the ways of working, the culture of the organization. And typically when I suddenly missed out on calling out very specifically, wherein in today's context, we every organization, when they say that okay, we are embarking our journey on adopting the new ways of working, which they call it as a transformation. Suddenly it is nothing but of the typical reflection of how do we improvise further, and their objective is to move away from the power oriented, rule oriented, cultural aspect of it to the, you know, pretty much they are staying focused on the performance oriented kind of cultural aspect of it. And there are different parameters, right? I'm certainly referring to the Western model over here, but that is the overall journey. The cultural aspect, which is typical reflection of your agile and DevOps. Certainly, that is more inclined towards organizations they are adopting suddenly the new ways of working, but moving away from the power oriented, rule oriented culture to the performance oriented culture. You certainly may have a question in terms of talking about then what happened to those practices, right, which were existing into the ITL v3, and certainly we have those practices. We are having those processes getting reflected, but we are typically staying focused on 34 practices, which is suddenly divided into the general management practices, which is pretty much 14 general management practices, which includes your portfolio management, which includes your project program management, business analytics, so on and so forth. And there are 17 ID service management specific practices, right, which includes your incident management, change, problem management. Certainly, you have, uh, the service management aspect of it, which is getting reflected, right? Definitely, the objective is more inclined towards reflection of the continual improvement culture, right? Which is yet again a reflection of your lean fundamentals, which is completely taken into consideration as part of the foundation of your agile DevOps as well as site reliability engineering. And there are three technical practices which they have introduced it as part of Ideal 4 as a version. And this is your overall certification scheme, which we do have in terms of the where we stand, where we start at least as a beginner level is foundation, that is mandate. And definitely you have your own choices in terms of either you can get into the ideal practice manager, that is practice manager, ideal PM, or probably you can go to the ideal managing professionals. But for that matter, if you need to really get into this managing professional aspect of it, you need to have certain qualifications, advanced qualifications from ideal v3 aspect of it. But if you do have those qualifications, then certainly you don't need to get into the foundation ideal for foundation aspect of it. But I would certainly recommend in terms of learning more about ideal for foundation, what it is all about. And certainly you have your own choice, which could be your strategic leader, that is ideal strategic leader, which is more inclined towards the digital and ID strategy aspect of it. You may see certain overlaps between the ideal PM, AMP, that is managing professionals, and strategic leader. When you would see the create, deliver, and support is an intersection between the ideal practice manager and managing professionals. You may see direct plan and improve, that is DPI, which is a kind of overlap between your managing professionals as against the strategic leadership, right? But typically, you really need to. I mean, if you are a professional who is part of or who is moving towards embarking his own journey, professional journey towards the leadership role, then suddenly after foundation, they can suddenly go ahead with the ideal strategic leadership, wherein they can start learning more about IT, digital and IT strategy aspect of it. And it certainly matters, right? Your ideal for matters to the business leaders. And definitely there are certain myths wherein people talk about it as a tool, as ideal for, but it's a business enabler, right? It is certainly allowing organizations to become more agile, more customer focused, more resilient, and it is all about they showing their strategic alignment in terms of the advancements, the cultural aspect of it, the technology advancements, the skill advancements. What we need to have it as part of our the need of the future, right? It certainly directly supports the business goals, innovations, and value delivery in the digital age. It is typically we don't see any reflection of just an ID operations in any of the organization in today's context. And even if it exists, right, organizations they have already started, getting into the you know the transformations, which is allowing them to bring their operations team as part of their development teams, and making sure that they are equally contributing, right, to the new features development or the advancements of the product and services. Now there are different parameters which we need to really understand it, and some of the bullet points what I've tried my level best in terms of putting it over here, right, in with regards to why ideal for matters to the business leaders. And suddenly, you know, it is all about the value, not only value creation, but it is more about value co-creation. It is all about delivering the services that drive the customer satisfaction. We have more customers coming in, that is a growth, and subsequently, we are having the or our organization, our product and services, they are having or they are bringing in more competitive advantage to our customers. Certainly, in today's context, it is not the case that one product will we have passed that particular phase wherein one product they will lead the market, but subsequently in today's context you have one single a kind of offering which is been made available by the different service providers, and subsequently every product it has got its own abilities which certainly brings in the benefit to the customers, and subsequently you may see more inclination of the customers to the services which are more reliable, which are more secure, which are more available, which are more usable, right? And that is typically that brings in the better customer experience, better user experience, right? And that certainly you can see the improved loyalty as well as the the brand perception, right? What every organization is trying to reflect into their product and services. But when we talk about this product and services, right, wherein we have the healthy competition available in the market, suddenly, your teams, your organizations, they need to think about out of the box, right? And to think out of the box, definitely there is a need in terms of we having a specific time allocated. We have a specific infrastructure which has been made available, wherein people can really explore, people can really experiment. You know the the out of the box kind of a technological aspect of it, and certainly they will evaluate in terms of how quickly we can our our overall perspective of a new innovation or probably a innovative aspect of it, how that will certainly help our organizations in terms of solving the customers challenges as quickly as possible. And that is a real perspective what we get to see in today's context, wherein majority of the organizations they are conducting the hackathons. They are in my experience I've seen some of the organizations they are already setting up the innovation labs, wherein their teams they are allowed to spend a specific time frame, right, in those innovation labs, and certainly they need to present those ideas to the leadership cadre, to their teams. And certainly depending on the overall better solutions which will be made available with those innovations, right, the teams go ahead and adopt those which will really enable them to fast track their overall efforts in terms of developing or provisioning those values, and subsequently have those product and services available in the market before our competitors they really make it available. Definitely, uh, we moving out of silos, we staying more focused on the innovations, we are looking at our competitions, we are having the better predictability, but this is not enough. What we need is to look at the continuous improvement, and that's the part of every organization culture. And this is all about the retrospectives, this is all about the feedbacks. And like I said, it is not necessary that every time you should have a feedback for your product and services. It could be a feedback about the team, the processes, what they're following, the tools, what they're using, the level of documentation, the kind of documentation, the format of the documentation, right? Even in certain cases, even I've seen that some of the etiquette related feedbacks has also been shared. And what is a perspective here is to see a typical reflection into the or probably a typical reflection or reflecting a change into the culture of the organization, and that is nothing but of a continuous improvement. Pretty much it is been misunderstood, right? That we are conducting the retrospectives, right, as part of our sprints or iterations. But what happens to those retrospective actions? Have we taken any correct? Have we taken those into considerations? Are we experimenting something? Are we getting any benefits? Is that allowing us really moving faster in terms of provisioning the value, the perspective for your customers? And if the answer to that question is yes, then continue doing that. If the answer to that question is no, the feedback which has been experimented, then certainly we need to look out for other options. And that is, I won't call it as a continuous, it is continuous, right? It is relentless kind of a improvement. That's the typical reflection of your culture, which every organization is trying to cultivate within their idea organizations. And when I talk about idea organizations, your operations is certainly is going to be part of that. Definitely more alignment. This is typically it's not only limited and restricted to people they are taking care of their day-to-day set of activities. It is more inclined towards the strategic objectives. It is all about how your ID teams they are showing their alignment with the businesses, the overall targets what they want to achieve, what are the investments which has been made available, uh, what is the level of capabilities what we do have, how quickly we are responding to the change into the product and services in the market, how quickly we are adapting that particular change. And certainly this is more inclined towards we are connecting with this ideal four, right, service value system. We are actually connecting your strategic objectives to your execution. So typical reflection of a scaled agile framework what you get to see over here. And this is where, right, your people said they really understood the need of the time, wherein they said that okay, we need to have this as a learning capability, right? Which is suddenly allowing the business and ID leaders in terms of understanding the depth of the digital transformation, how it has been used in the modern ID service management practices. And that is where your digital ideal for digital and ID strategy, right? This is more a strategic level of model which has been incorporated as part of your certification path. And this DITS, digital and ID strategy, it certainly stays focused on how organization can develop a digital strategy which integrates with the overall business strategy. And this is all about the context of the rapid technological disruptions and the digital transformation, which certainly allow the organizations wherein the executives they are They are providing more guidance to the leadership team on the alignment of the digital capabilities with the business goals, which is suddenly allowing the organizations to to stay competitive in the digital economy with the better product and services. Suddenly make more informed investment decisions wherever organizations they are making a best calls in terms of
I think there is some issue. Just give us 2 minutes. Sir will join in 2 minutes. There is some connection issue. Hello, sir.
hey, hi, sorry, I got disconnected.
Yeah, no worry.
I hope you can see my screen now.
Yes, sir. Screen is visible. Your camera is off.
Okay, okay, okay.
Mm.
So yep. So that was pretty much inclined towards making more informed investment decisions where organizations they are doing those reviews on a quarterly basis, just to understand that whether the funding arrangements what we do have, whether those funds have been utilized in whether those funding arrangements are enough to develop those capabilities. If there is an additional funding, probably they can look out for an option, or probably they will also evaluate from the perspective in terms of what is the investment, what we are doing now, and subsequently, how quickly we can get the returns on the investment of on those investments, right? If the payback period is going to be on a longer phase of it, then possibly they can make appropriate decision whether we need to go ahead and keep investing on those capabilities, or probably we have some other priorities wherein those investments can be those funding arrangements can be made available, and subsequently those can be utilized in a much more appropriate manner, which will have a better payback period, right, or a shorter payback period. Definitely, you know the overall perspective of why we should stay focused on the ideal for the digital and ID strategy, it is, like I said, uh, we are trying to understand as part of your digital strategy as well as ID strategy. It clarifies differentiation. It certainly gives you a better understand how to anticipate and respond to the market disruptions and identify the opportunities for innovation. And definitely the strategic planning in the digital world, how to build an adaptive strategy using the ideal four principles wherein we balance the agility, risk management, and the long term vision. Digital positioning and the business models wherein we create the strategies that use the technology to enhance or reinvent our organization's business model. Subsequently, workforce and talent strategy, wherein we identify and address skill gaps, cultural changes, digital leadership, and align the people strategy with the digital needs. And that's the overall perspective what we have in place. And subsequently, governance, risk, and compliances, and that is must have in today's context. And your ideal for DITS, it certainly allows the learners to to have their understanding on how the leaders or the leadership team they are showing their alignment on the digital initiatives with corporate governance as well as with the regulatory requirements. And certainly the strategy implementation and execution wherein these are the practical steps for moving from strategy to execution, which includes the funding, performance metrics, and definitely the agile governance aspect of it. A quick insight in terms of the ideal for leadership in the digital era, and this is a core theme of the ideal for DITS model, and it is more relevant in today's fast-paced or disruption-driven business world. In Ideal 4, the leadership is not just about managing the ID teams, but it is beyond that. It is all about the strategically enabling the digital transformation and subsequently, guiding the organizations through the change with more transparency, more clarity, more agility, and the purpose aspect of it. Certainly, to justify this one, I wanted to demonstrate a quick video by David Market, wherein he talks about the leadership aspect of it. Especially, is more reflecting on the new definition of the leadership, right? Wherein the old leadership definition is like you demonstrate the new capabilities and you create the followers. That was the arena wherein we used to understand that is what the leadership is all about. But in today's context, it is all about we making people understand the intent. And suddenly, instead of we staying more focused on creating the followers, the new leadership definition talks about we creating the next level of leaders, and that's the new arena uh, what we are adopting or what every organization is adopting. And definitely, you know uh, it is all about this particular model that will navigate the digital disruption. uh, it allows or understand the leaders in terms of how do they lead across cross functional teams. Now, what could be a cross functional team? Every organization, depending on their product and services, their structure, right? This may have a little variations, but subsequently, you know, in today's context, it is a must have, especially the cross functional teams. We enable the culture of innovation, agility, and continuous improvement, and subsequently, align the digital and ID strategy with the business goals. That's the overall perspective. And in recent past, after 2019, right, especially when this was introduced, IDL 4 was introduced to the world. Uh, it is the organizations they have demonstrated their interest in terms of adopting it. They wanted to experiment something, and definitely they got the benefit. They benefited out of that, right? And typically, this is one of the case study which I could find it, right? Autonova Motors, but typically automotive manufacturing company organization, and their goal was to transform into a mobility as a service, MaaS, the way we have the platform as a service or a software as a service, right? Typically, we have a mobility as a service, which is typically a new dimension what we get to see as part of your automobile industry. And their business objective was pretty much, they wanted to shift from being a traditional car manufacturer to a digital mobility provider offering services like car sharing apps or vehicle subscriptions or predictive maintenance as a service. And this suddenly required a radical change in the business model, uh, which suddenly required a tight alignment between the business strategy and ID capabilities aspect of it. And suddenly, these are the areas through which Autonova was successful to achieve their business objective, wherein they adopted this service value system. Wherein Autonova they adopted this service value system to create a shared framework for business and ID to collaborate on delivering the value. Suddenly, uh, strategic goals and market analysis, which was suddenly supported as opportunity or the demand, right? From the business aspect of it, ID inputs is more on the technical feasibility, digital innovation, and they were able to, right, with the appropriate collaboration. They're coming out of their silos. They're having the collaboration between the business and the ID aspect of it. They jointly designed a mobility service platform, which is app plus backend. And suddenly, they use several ideal four practices in alignment with the business needs. Could be your general management practices like portfolio management, ID service management practices like change enablement, or relationship management, continual improvement aspect of it. And suddenly, uh, the greater presence in terms of the strategic objectives and the objectives getting converted into the solution, which shows a real connectivity between the strategic objectives with the execution, right? So typical reflection, what you get to see as part of this strategic governance aspect of it. So that's pretty much what I wanted to stay focused as part of this discussion. So maybe uh, Shraddha, you want to go ahead and open the uh, forum for question and answers, if at all there are any.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Totally. So, attendees, we can start the Q&A section for the webinar now. You can ask your questions in the Q&A box. So, we'll answer to all of them. So, drop them in the Q&A box. We'll be waiting for your questions. This is your chance to get answers to all your doubts. Anyone? Any questions? If anyone is not able to access the Q&A box, you can raise the hand. While you bring the questions, I just want to tell you that I have something to share at the end of the webinar. So do wait for some time, and till then you can ask the questions also, whatever the doubts you have about the session, anything you want to ask. Okay, I'll wait 2 more minutes till you put out the questions. Till then, I just want to share something with you. If you have doubts later on also, you can contact us anytime. We'll be reaching out to you. I have shared the contact details as well as you can connect with us on our social media platforms where you can ask your doubts and anything you need help with. Our advisors will help you with it. I think, sir, they got everything cleared. So thank you so much for the great session. Uh, okay, attendees, can you just react with uh, the reaction to the session sir has given? Also, you can scan this QR code to give review about the session. Okay, we got reactions. They have enjoyed the session. Okay, so coming to the surprise part. So the surprise is we are gonna run offers soon on the ITIL certifications, where you can get up to 60% off on the certification. So you can, I have already added the contact details and as well as our website too. So we are gonna upload there about the upcoming offers, webinars, or further details. So do check it out. Do save that message with you so that you can check it out and you can grab the offer in the first place. If anyone have any questions related to offer or anything else, you can still ask the question. We have 5 more minutes left before we end the session. Okay, I think there are no questions, and I hope you have took out the website or contact details for Knowlathon, or you can just search www.knowlathon.com and you can reach out to us from there. So thank you so much, sir, for the great and insightful session. Um, I hope everyone have liked it. They have already reacted to it. Um, but yeah, thank you so much again. And thank you so much to all the attendees for joining with us today. I hope to see you in the next session. Till then, goodbye.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great evening. Bye.
Yeah.